All praises to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Makar Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elected nation of Israel. This is going to be a video on this scene from the movie This Is the End, which shows pretty much shows people getting beamed up into chariots, man. But you don't actually see the chariots in the movie. You see them getting beamed up above the clouds, all right, and the clouds are like dark, and you don't end up actually seeing what's beaming them up. But it's obviously people getting beamed up by chariots, man. And I just wanted to do a lesson into why you always see this kind of thing within movies, all right? Why you always end up seeing this kind of thing in movies regarding aliens and stuff like that, man. And they specifically mentioned that this was biblical when you watch this movie, right? And in this particular scene, which I recommend people watch if they haven't seen it before, one woman, the woman that she's working in the petrol station or the gas station, that's how they say it in America or whatever, she says, "What about me?" Because she's wondering why she ain't getting beamed up. And that's how a lot of people, you can see her there on the left-hand side of the screen. In fact, you can see it. A lot of people are going to be thinking that when they see that they don't get beamed up, but that other people have. And in this particular scene as well, when you watch it, you'll see that people are getting beamed up into chariots from inside of their cars, man. They're getting taken away. They're getting taken up into the heavens. And this is a biblical thing. And just so that I don't do too much of my own words, I'm going to show that this happens many times within the scriptures, man. And that's where they got it from, because that's what they're expecting to see in the day when Yahweh sends his son Yahweh Shai to the earth. Now, let me go to Revelation 1 and 7 first. This is Revelation chapter 1 and verse 7. "Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him." Even so, Aman, and when them clouds that it's mentioning are UFOs. And when these clouds come, when these UFOs come, these so-called UFOs, right, which are the chariots of God, really, when they come, they're going to be gathering Israelites up in there. They're going to be gathering Israelites up in it, man. And let me, Salakia, I ain't read this scripture for a while now, but it's in my mind, and I want to find this particular scripture as well. Maybe it's in the second chapter of 1 Thessalonians. It says, "And so we shall ever be with the Lord." Let me see if I can remember where that is. Here we go. I believe, is this it? Salakia. There we go. This is the scripture. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 16. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of an archangel, and with the trumpet of Yahweh, and the dead in the Mashiach shall rise first. And that's the same event as what it's mentioned in Revelation 1 and 7. Verse 17, "Then they which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord in the air, and so shall we ever be with the Lord. Wherefore comfort one another with these words." So that's also speaking of on the chariots, man. And that's where these people get these things from. That's where they get it from, that people are going to be getting beamed up into chariots. And here's also another part where they take this stuff from, man, because they watch Hebrew Israelites teach, that the Hebrew Israelites of Great Millstone in particular, man, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, they follow that particular doctrine, and they know that they are telling the truth. And all people that teach and believe that same doctrine, they know that they're really telling the truth, man, because these Edomites have seen way more proof of UFOs than we've ever seen in our life. These high-level elites of Esau, they've seen way more proof. There was that man also, I believe his name's Norman Begron, and he said that he saw like 7 foot pitch black. He said 7 foot black, like extraterrestrials, man. And then the woman tried to say, "So you mean dark skinned?" And he said, "No, I meant black." So he's seen things also. And they know that there's heavenly things out there that are related to the Israelites and that are connected to the Israelites, the children of Israel, the Negro, Latino, and Native American. Now I'm going to get this scripture as well. This is Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 24. "For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries, and will bring you into your own land." And that's the same event as what I've read in Revelation 1 and 7. And in 1 Thessalonians, the 4th chapter, and I believe it was the 16th verse. These are the same events, man. Israelites being taken from all over the earth and being brought up into chariots to meet the Lord. This is Jeremiah chapter 23 and verse 7. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith Yahweh, that they shall no more say that Yahweh liveth, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt, but Yahweh liveth, which brought up and which led the seed of the house of Israel out of the north country and from all country where I had driven them, and they shall dwell in their own land. Again, that's the same event, right? Now, let me prove it. Let me prove that the Israelites being taken from many places on the earth is a biblical event, and that it's regarding the same thing, the UFOs, man. Because it's not supposed to be that no Balfour Declaration caused for the Israelites to get brought back into their own land. It was going to be a heavenly salvation that was going to be greater than the salvation that the Israelites received during the time when Moses helped them get out of the out of Egypt, man, by the hand of Yahweh. This is Matthew chapter 24 and verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. Then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Again, it's the same event as Revelation 1 and 7, as 1 Thessalonians. And let me read those again, so we can remember what it said in the previous scripture, and then read it, and compare it to this again. Revelation chapter 1 and verse 7. Behold, he cometh with clouds. It's always mentioning clouds, man. And every eye shall see him, and they all shall which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so, amen. And the reason why it's always referred to as clouds is because they're flying, man. It's not because they're literally clouds. It's because they're always found in the sky, just like clouds are. Let me carry on. 1 Thessalonians as well, and I believe it mentions clouds there too. Yep. This is 1 Thessalonians chapter 4 and verse 16. For the Lord himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of an archangel, and with the trumpet, and with the trump of Yahweh, and the dead in the Mashiach shall rise first. Then they which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with him in the clouds. So it always mentions these clouds, man. It always keeps mentioning these clouds gathering people from all over the earth, and those people are the Israelites. And I'm going to get another scripture to back that up, that is only mentioning the Israelites being gathered from all countries, which I already did in Ezekiel the 36th chapter, but I'm also going to prove that it's in other places in the Bible too. Verse 17, then they which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet Yahweh in the air, and so shall they ever be with the Lord. Now, I kind of wanted to play that scene, but I know that more than likely it will be taken down, man. So you've got it at the start of the video, and you'll be able to go and look at it yourself, and you'll see that people are getting beamed up, man. And in that whole movie, it keeps just showing people getting beamed up if people decide that they want to watch the whole movie, and it's on Netflix, which most people have Netflix anyway. So it's on Netflix if people want to watch it, and it's called This Is the End. And it's meant to be like a comedy movie, but like I wasn't even expecting when I watched it for it to show people getting beamed up, man. It kind of caught me by surprise. I was expecting to see certain things, to see if it was matching stuff biblically, but I wasn't expecting to see exactly that. This is Amos chapter 9 and verse 9. For lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations, like as corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. Does that not sound similar to what it said here in Matthew 24? Let's read it again. Matthew chapter 24 and verse 30. Then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angel with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from the one end of heaven to the other. And the elect are Israelites. The elect are Israelites, man. No other nation is the chosen of God. The Israelites are the chosen of God, and in particular, the Israelites that believe in Yahweh B'Hashem Yahweh Shai in spirit and in truth. And let me quickly get a scripture to prove that the Israelites are the elect. Let me quickly get one. This is Romans chapter 11 and verse 7. What shall we say then? Israel have not attained that which he seeketh for, but the election, meaning the elect of the nation of Israel, have obtained it, and the rest were blinded. The rest of who? The rest of the Israelites were blinded. And that's why they don't understand certain things right now, but they're going to learn it eventually after death by pain, which is why it says in the scriptures, all Israel are going to be saved, which I'm about to read. Romans chapter 11 and verse 26, and so all Israel shall be saved, as it is written, they shall come out of Zion the deliverer, and shall turn away ungodliness from Jacob. But the Israelites that get it the second go round, they're going to arise to everlasting shame and contempt, because the kingdom's going to be righteous. So you're not going to want to know that you was an Israelite that was doing wickedness during the time when it mattered most to prove what kind of Israelite you are, man. This is Daniel chapter 12 and verse 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And it's not going to be a good thing to be one of those Israelites that gets that everlasting shame and contempt, man. It's not going to be a good thing for that. Now, I read about the Israelites being gathered from all places, and I'm going to prove it again here, but I'm going to read a bit more so that you can get a bit more of what I'm trying to prove here. This is Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 9. I'll go to verse 17. Son of man, when the house of Israel, Ezekiel chapter 36 and verse 17. Son of man, when the house of Israel dwelt in their own land, they defied it by their own way and by their doings. Their way was before me as the uncleanness of a removed woman. So Yahweh is basically comparing the wickedness that Israelites did to a woman on their menstrual, man, because when a woman's on that time period, she's unclean and has to be cast away. Wherefore I poured out my fury upon them for the blood that they shed upon the land, and for their idols wherewith they had polluted it. And I scattered them among the heathen, and they were dispersed through the countries according to their way, and according to their doings I judged them. And when they entered unto the heat, and verse 19 is going into one of the curses, by the way, Deuteronomy the 28th chapter and the 64th verse, where Yahweh says that he would scatter the Israelites if they sinned against him. And it's also mentioned in other places in the Bible that that's one of the things that Yahweh would do if we went against him. I believe Leviticus the 26th chapter is one of those places, and also Deuteronomy the 4th chapter also goes into that. And then it speaks many times about the Israelites being gathered from the four corners of the earth as well. Deuteronomy the 30th chapter is one of those places. Amos 9 and 9, which I just read. Jeremiah 23 and 7. And then I believe Jeremiah 16th chapter also goes into exactly the same point. And then even still outside of those scriptures, there's more places than that. And it mentions the Israelites being gathered. It doesn't mention no other nation being gathered. That you've still got Christians out there that don't want to believe that salvation is only for the Israelites. Verse 21. But I had pity for my holy name, which the house of Israel had profaned among the heathen whither they went. Therefore say unto the house of Israel, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, I do not this for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for my holy name's sake, which ye have profaned among the heathen, whither ye went. And Yahweh takes his name very seriously. And that's how you know that he's definitely going to save us from the people that we're being oppressed by, because he's doing it for his name's sake. And so that his name can be declared throughout all the earth and people can fear his name. Verse 24, for I will take you from among the heathen. So it's not heathens that are going to be coming in this salvation. For I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries and will bring you into your own land. And when you go to Revelation, the 7th chapter, it speaks about this also. Revelation 7 and 9. That's going into Israelites that were gathered from all of these different countries and looked like all these different nations that they were scattered in. And it's simple and plain when you're spiritual. But when you're carnal and trying your best to try and save a Gentile or save a heathen that don't care about the Lord anyway, you're going to try and use that scripture to try and prove that it's for heathens. But when you go into the meaning of the words people, nations and kindred, it proves that those people are Israelites. It literally mentions them by name. Verse 24, for I will take you from among the heathen and gather you out of all countries and will bring you into your own land. Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you, and ye shall be clean from all your filthiness, and from all your idols will I cleanse you. So this whole talk about the Israelites being cast away is not biblical. All right, it's not a biblical doctrine. It's a lie. It's a lie, man. And many places when you go to the scriptures, it speaks about the Israelites being gathered. And this is why you've got these whole movies that show all this beaming up, man, by UFOs, because they know that's the way the Israelites are going to be gathered by Yahweh through Yahweh Shai. And I'll end the lesson there. All praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakah Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. Shalom.